Inside the elevator, a male colleague about 1.6 meters tall sneered. A girl who's 1.7 meters tall just doesn't look right at all. No one would want to marry her. I looked around, feigning surprise, and then said loudly, "Who's that? Who's speaking?" My dad, a man who rarely indulged in luxuries, this time made an exception and took me to buy 2 expensive designer bags. All just so I would convince my older brother, Alex, to go on a blind date. He was extremely against it, and even our parents and relatives couldn't persuade him. Perhaps I was the only one in the family who could. Since I'd already received my benefit, I couldn't just ignore it. I immediately drove to Alex's company to find him. On the way, I prepared a whole arsenal of reasons to convince him. Just as I arrived at the company and was waiting for the elevator, I heard a strange male voice beside me. "Hello, beautiful, do you work here too?" His tone was a little greasy, especially as he approached. A mix of cigarette smoke and sweat filled the air, making me almost nauseous. I pinched my nose, shook my head, and quietly stepped back, not wanting to talk. But the man took that as an invitation, taking another step closer, standing right beside me. He even offered a business card. "Are you here for an interview, beautiful? I'm a department head here, very close with HR. If you mention my name during the interview, you're guaranteed to get the job." I was about to refuse, but he shoved the business card into my hand and even tried to grab my arm. I screamed, pushing him away forcefully. "Are you crazy? Who needs your business card?" My shout made everyone around turn to look. The man seemed to lose face, glaring at me and saying angrily, "You damn brat. All I need is one word, and you won't find a job in this city. Believe me." I paused, then let out a soft chuckle. "You said you're a department head named Victor Wang, right?" I glanced at his name tag. Victor looked extremely smug, hands in his pockets, standing with an air of self-importance. "If you weren't decent-looking, would someone of my status bother to ask for your contact information?" I could see he was angry from embarrassment, but I didn't want to argue further. After all, I was here for a specific reason and wanted to get this over with. A few words with my brother would suffice. I didn't need to get my own hands dirty. When the elevator arrived, I stepped in. Victor followed, and then a few more people joined us. They must have been employees there. As soon as they saw Victor, they greeted him. Victor puffed out his chest, looking very confident and smug, as if wanting to flaunt his authority and status in front of me. I just found it amusing. I couldn't believe my brother's company had this kind of persona middle manager who, if he couldn't charm a woman, would resort to this kind of anger. As the elevator ascended, Victor cleared his throat a few times and began speaking in a mocking tone. "Women, it's best if their height isn't over 1.65 meters. If they're too tall, they look like men, all broad shoulders and muscles. Who'd like that? Girls who are 1.7 meters tall and then wear high heels, they're practically wrestlers. Imagine the psychological pressure they put on men." As he spoke, he turned to the person next to him. "Junior Zhang, don't you agree?" The young man, caught off guard, looked at me briefly, then awkwardly nodded. Seeing someone agree, Victor became even more emboldened. "Women still have to get married in the end, right? If you're that tall, who would marry you?" I softly cleared my throat, looked straight ahead and asked, "Who's that in the elevator? Who's talking? It's so noisy." Victor immediately understood I was ridiculing him, his face turning bright red with anger. "You damn brat, what did you say?" I feigned surprise. "Is someone here? Is there someone here?" Then I looked down at him, smiling. "Oh, it's you. My apologies, I didn't notice." Victor's face contorted with rage, grinding his teeth as he glared at me. "You damn brat. You have a sharp tongue, don't you? I'll see if anyone will marry someone like you in this lifetime." Hearing him, I burst out laughing. "Oh, sir, well then, thank you for your blessing." Victor was stunned. I smiled, looking at him. What era are we in that someone still thinks telling a girl she won't get married is a potent curse? As I spoke, I deliberately glanced at him, making sure he noticed the height difference between us. Victor clearly felt it, his face turning pale with anger. You. I'm telling you, you must apologize to me today, or else I absolutely." I crossed my arms over my chest, a radiant smile on my face. "Oh, what if I don't apologize? What are you going to do? Don't threaten me. Are you going to jump up and hit my knee?" As soon as I finished, the people in the elevator who had been silently enjoying the show couldn't help but burst into laughter. Especially Junior Zhang, who had been dragged into Victor's antics earlier. He was now laughing so hard he could barely stand. Victor was so embarrassed his entire body trembled. The elevator stopped and other people stepped in, but Victor still wouldn't let it go. He glared at me. "You damn brat, I'm telling you, as long as I'm in this company, you can forget about ever getting hired." I smiled faintly, looking at him. Oh, you're that good, so what if I do get hired? Victor scoffed. Absolutely impossible. I took out my phone, started recording, and said, if I get hired, you have to stand in front of the company lobby, pour tea, and apologize to me. And if I don't get hired, I'll pour tea and apologize to you. How about that? Victor, supremely confident, nodded without hesitation, excited. Deal, a word is a bond. Seeing Victor's smug expression, I just thought to myself, what a fool. He's digging his own grave. He started to size me up again with a disdainful look, clicking his tongue. The way you dress, you probably don't have much education. No qualifications and you want to work for this company? Dream on. Hearing that, I wasn't angry. Instead, I smiled. Well, looking at the way you dress and your appearance, you must be highly qualified, right? Victor nodded smugly. It's good you know that. I'm certainly highly qualified, at least much more than you. Halfway through his sentence, he realized I was being sarcastic and glared at me, furious. Just then, the elevator chimed, arriving at his floor. Before stepping out, Victor didn't forget to turn back and mock me. I didn't even look at him, directly pressing the close door button. The elevator continued to the top floor. As I stepped out, I saw Uncle Chu, an old acquaintance who worked for my family. As soon as he saw me, he stood up in surprise. Miss Tina, why are you here? I smiled. I brought something for my brother. Is he here? Uncle Chu nodded and hurried to open the door for me. Inside, I saw Alex working at his desk. I got straight to the point, explaining the task Dad had given me. He immediately refused without hesitation. No, I'm not going. I knew he wouldn't agree, so I'd prepared my counter-strategy ever since I was in the elevator. I pulled up a chair, sat down, and smiled. Alex, I won't let you go for nothing. Didn't you always want me to come work here? I've thought about it, and I've decided I'll come. My brother stared at me, dumbfounded, with an incredulous look. Really? I nodded, smiling. Really. Phi Anvu YouTube channel wishes everyone happy listening. He still didn't believe me. I asked you so many times before, and you always refused. Why agree now? As he spoke, his eyes fell on the new bag on my shoulder, as if understanding the situation. He gave a wry smile. Tina Tran, you're really something. Just because Dad bought you a bag, you agree to work for me? I caressed my beloved new bag, smiling. You don't understand. Dad bought me 2 of them, and they're even sold-out models. Money can't buy them. If you had given them to me earlier, I might have come to work ages ago. He widened his eyes at me, pouting. You really are, I quickly said. Alex, you'll go tonight, right? Dad just wants what's best for you. He thought for a moment, looked at his phone, then nodded. Okay, I'll go. But whether it works out or not, I can't guarantee. You have to come too. I smiled. All right, Dad just asked me to convince you to go. Whether it works out or not is a matter of destiny. Then I suddenly remembered something and turned to ask him. Oh, right, Alex. Does your company have someone named Victor Wang? Do you know him? My brother nodded. Yes, he's a middle manager who's been here for a long time. Why? I recounted the entire incident that had just happened downstairs. My brother immediately became furious. What kind of rubbish is this? Daring to have ill intentions towards my sister. I was already training someone to replace him, but now it seems he wants to pack his bags early. After saying that, he turned to look at me. You agreed to stay and work because of this too? I smiled. You're so smart, Alex, but don't worry, I'm not afraid of someone like Victor. I'll definitely make him lose face. Oh, and when I work here, I don't want to reveal my identity. No one should know. My brother nodded. All right, a little later, go to HR to report. I'll talk to them beforehand. I immediately stood up, packed my bag, and left. My brother still asked, Are you coming with me tonight? I'll pick you up. I shook my head. No need. What if people misunderstand if we go together? Then it'll be hard for you to find your soulmate. After saying that, I left his office and went straight to HR. Unexpectedly, as soon as I arrived, I ran into Victor. He looked at me with an arrogant expression. You damn brat, it's still not too late to apologize to me now. If you don't believe me, with just one word from me, HR will throw your resume in the trash immediately. I smiled faintly. Really? Well, I'd love to see that. I walked in. The HR manager, who had already received a call from my brother, was waiting. As soon as she saw me, she immediately took out a contract and said, Miss Tina, right? You can sign the contract now. I took the pen, deliberately glancing at Victor with a triumphant look. Standing at the door, Victor's face turned pale with anger. He turned and shouted loudly, Liu, are you mistaken? Since when did the company's recruitment standards become so low? Don't just pick up any trash for the company. The HR manager looked a little awkward but calmly said, "Miss Tina graduated from a prestigious university abroad. For her to agree to work here, our company is very fortunate." Hearing that, Victor was stunned, staring at me in disbelief. I finished signing the contract, then turned back to look at him. "Now that I'm an employee of this company, you should fulfill your promise, shouldn't you?" Victor pretended not to understand. "What promise? Don't make false accusations." I held up my phone and shook it gently. "It's okay if you don't remember. I have a video as proof. If you don't fulfill it, I'll have no choice but to post it in the company chat group so everyone can see your true colors." Victor's face immediately changed. In the end, he had to buy several bubble teas, stand in the lobby on the first floor, and bow his head to apologize to me. I took a cup of bubble tea, took a sip, and then deliberately said, "I'm not someone who takes advantage. Since you've apologized, I forgive you. Go on, but remember, don't look down on women next time." Victor clenched his fists, so angry he couldn't speak a word. Just then, a familiar voice rang out. "Victor, why are you here? What are you doing?" I was a little surprised, looking towards the speaker. It was Linda Liu. She quickly saw me too. When she saw Victor and me standing together, her eyes immediately showed jealousy. She quickly walked over and stood next to Victor. A colleague next to her recounted everything to Linda. Victor had offended Tina, so he had to buy bubble tea and apologize in front of everyone. Linda's expression changed instantly. She looked at me with contempt. "Tina Tran, why do you have to be so annoying everywhere you go? Do you like my Victor that much?" I was a little confused. "Your Victor? You call him brother?" Linda said proudly. "Of course. Victor is my sworn brother. I'm telling you, don't bully him anymore." I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Linda Liu, my old college friend. When I first went abroad to study, I didn't know anyone. That's when I met Linda. She was also of Chinese descent, so we became quite close. She used to say that she was a bai fu mei, a beautiful, talented, wealthy girl, but her parents were too busy with business to care for her, only sending money. I used to feel sorry for her because I had always had loving parents, grandparents, and siblings. But gradually, Linda frequently borrowed my money, clothes, and makeup. At first, I didn't mind, but she became more and more outrageous. Once, she took a new set of clothes I had bought, hadn't even worn yet, got them dirty, and returned them to me. We had a big fight over this, and our relationship soured. From then on, Linda started to gather other classmates to isolate me. She often played tricks on me at school. Every time I got angry, she would say I couldn't take a joke. Gradually, I was alienated by my friends, becoming an eccentric in everyone's eyes. If my eldest sister hadn't visited me, noticed my unusual behavior, and helped me move out of the dorm, I probably would have suffered a mental breakdown. After returning to the country a year later, thanks to the care and attention of my family, I slowly recovered and forgot everything that had happened. But I never expected to meet Linda Liu here. Perhaps because I was weak in the past, Linda was accustomed to looking down on me. Now, seeing me radiant and confident, she couldn't hide her jealousy, scanning me from head to toe to assess me. "Tina Tran, I can't believe I'd run into you here." I smiled faintly. "Just running into me? I just got hired. We'll be colleagues from now on." Hearing that, Linda was very surprised. "You got hired?" I raised an eyebrow smugly. Then I turned to look at Victor. "What are you and him to each other?" Linda quickly said. "Victor is my sworn brother. Tina Tran, if you have a problem, just target me, don't touch him." I burst out laughing. "Linda, do you have a problem with your brain? You call someone over 40 brother. So at home, do you call your dad your sworn brother too?" Hearing me, Linda's face turned pale with rage. "You, how could you say that?" As she spoke, she stomped her foot and pretended to cry hysterically. Victor couldn't stand seeing his sworn sister cry. He immediately turned to comfort Linda while simultaneously mocking me. "Linda, don't mind her, she's just jealous of you." Hearing that, I burst into loud laughter. "Me, jealous of her? What am I jealous of? Jealous of the thick layer of foundation on her face like a wall, or jealous that she has a short, old brother like you?" My words stunned both of them. Too angry to speak, they just glared at me. I glanced at them, turned, and walked away with an unhurried demeanor, thinking to myself, "It seems there will be a lot of fun to watch at the company from now on. If I had known, I would have come to work here ages ago." That evening, I changed and went to the Hen Ho date location. Actually, it was a high-class cocktail party, but all the attendees were single men and women, nothing short of a matchmaking gathering. As soon as I walked in, I saw Victor Wang also present. A feeling of nausea immediately washed over me. In the afternoon, I had investigated Victor's profile. It turned out he had been married for over 10 years and had 2 children. This party was clearly for singles, yet he shamelessly came. I watched Victor smile fakely, greeting the beautiful girls, feeling disgusted. Suddenly, I remembered something. I took out my phone and took a few pictures of him. Victor's wife was a celebrity in the Hanfu community. Years ago, Victor was able to get into this company entirely thanks to his wife's help. From a pauper, he leveraged his wife's family connections to climb to a managerial position, but now he had forgotten his origins, mimicking others in philandering. I took these photos and would send them to his wife to see how he would live when he got home. As I was editing the photos, I unexpectedly saw Linda Liu there too. She looked at me in surprise, then immediately sneered. "Tina Tran, your figure is just ordinary, not attractive to men at all. I advise you to go home early." I scoffed, looking Linda up and down. Clearly, she had put a lot of effort into dressing up tonight. Her outfit was certainly not cheap. I smiled. "My figure might not attract men, but yours definitely does, doesn't it?" "Victor Wang wasn't perfectly seduced by you, was he? But I really didn't expect you to now like greasy middle-aged men like that." Linda was so angry she couldn't say anything. Just then, a familiar voice rang out from behind. It was my brother, Alex. As soon as he saw me standing at the door, he looked displeased. "Tina Tran, do you have any sense? Wearing a dress and standing at the door catching the wind? Aren't you afraid of catching a cold?" I turned to look at him, smiled, and linked my arm through his. "Aren't I waiting for you, Alex? Let's go in." Linda stared at my brother, her eyes fixed on him. Seeing us walk away, she quickly ran after us. "Tina, is this your boyfriend?" I didn't answer. Linda immediately squeezed to the other side next to my brother, speaking sweetly. "Hello, handsome, you look familiar. I think I've seen you somewhere before." "Of course, this is your boss. It would be strange if you didn't know him. But in such a big company, it's not unusual for a junior employee not to often see the boss." My brother glanced at her and said coldly, "Excuse me." Then he pulled me straight away. I couldn't help but turn back to look at Linda and burst out laughing. Seeing me laugh, she became even angrier. Linda was so furious she stomped her feet on the spot. My brother saw me secretly laughing and lowered his voice. "Tina Tran, why are you laughing like a mischievous villain?" I told him about how Linda used to bully me when I was abroad. After hearing it, his face immediately became serious. "That was her," I nodded. "Yes, she's still working under you, you know." My brother became even angrier. "Then I'll fire her as soon as I get back." I quickly waved my hand. No need, Alex, don't interfere. I can handle it myself." He looked at me for a moment, still uneasy. "If you need help, tell me." I nodded. Just then, a very fierce-looking woman appeared at the door. She scanned around, immediately locked onto Victor, and charged at him aggressively. I proudly held up my phone and showed it to my brother. "How about that? Am I not formidable?" My brother watched Victor being knocked to the ground and mercilessly beaten by the woman. He immediately understood that this was my doing. He couldn't help but give me a thumbs up in praise. That night when I got home, my dad immediately asked about my brother's date. My brother gave a vague answer and then went upstairs to shower. Seeing this, Dad turned to ask me. I honestly recounted. At that party, there wasn't a single girl worthy of Alex. He certainly wasn't pleased with anyone. My dad said anxiously, "Your brother is 33 years old. People his age already have grown children who can go buy soy sauce, while he only knows meetings and managing the company all day." I casually replied while playing on my phone. Just then, I saw Linda Liu posting a few pictures on social media. Strangely, Linda and I weren't friends, but because we had many mutual friends, the system kept suggesting connections. When I looked closely at the photos Linda posted, I couldn't sit still. She had secretly taken many pictures of my brother. Each photo was taken from an ambiguous angle. My brother was always in the background, while she stood in front, creating a sense of intimacy. If I didn't know what my brother had done all evening, just looking at the pictures, people would misunderstand. An idea sparked in my head. I showed those pictures to my parents. My dad, who had just been anxious about my brother's marriage, immediately changed his tone. "No, this girl is not good." My mom also looked displeased. "She only knows how to seek attention. She doesn't look like a decent, well-bred girl at all. She's not worthy of your brother." Hearing my parents say that, I felt much more at ease. At least they wouldn't accept just anyone just to get my brother married off quickly. The next morning, my first official day at work. While waiting for the elevator, I met a woman with an incredibly elegant aura. I was silently praising my brother's company for having so many excellent employees when I saw a perverted hand touch her waist. The elegant woman immediately felt it. She turned around and slapped the man behind her squarely across the face. The man cried out in pain. I looked closely. It was none other than Victor Wang. As everyone around noticed, Victor clutched his face, grimacing, and said, "You damn woman, you dare hit me?" The elegant woman looked at him coldly. "Yes, I hit you. Where did you just put your hand?" Victor argued back without fear. "You think too highly of yourself. Who would want to touch you? Look at yourself. I've met hundreds of women prettier than you." I stepped forward and stated clearly, "I saw you touch her." Victor turned to look at me, even angrier. "You and her are accomplices, aren't you?" I pointed to the security camera. "If you don't admit it, we just need to call the police and check the camera. Then we'll know where your hand was." Hearing about the camera, Victor immediately flinched, stammering, "It might have been because there were too many people. I accidentally bumped into her. At most, I'll apologize." Elegant woman smiled faintly. "No need to apologize. I'll call the police and see how accidental you were." Victor was flustered, repeatedly pleading, "Please don't call the police." Just then, Uncle Chu came out of another elevator. Seeing the elegant woman, he quickly approached. "Director Liang, are you here? The general director told me to come down and pick you up." Hearing Director Liang, I was a little curious while Victor was terrified. "Director Liang, you're Luna Liang." She nodded. "That's right, it's me. If I weren't here to discuss cooperation with your company, I wouldn't have to endure such unpleasantness." Victor kept apologizing frantically, but Director Liang was still determined to call the police. When we went upstairs, I overheard colleagues discussing that Victor had just been called in by the general director. He was probably about to be fired. Hearing that, I couldn't help but say, doing something like that, being fired is good for the company. Other female colleagues agreed. Only Linda Liu looked unhappy. "What do you all know? That Director Liang, her clothes don't even look decent." After Linda left, the colleagues whispered to me. It turned out Victor was Linda's patron in the company. The two had always had an ambiguous relationship. Now that Victor was fired, Linda no longer had any support. A few days later, the company officially announced Victor's dismissal. Victor was fired for indecent conduct, which everyone found extremely satisfying. My colleagues and I gathered to discuss this. A female colleague saw my new handbag and couldn't help but praise, "You're amazing, you bought such an expensive bag." I was about to say that my dad bought it when Linda Liu picked up a cup of water, blocking my view with a scornful expression. "Expensive? What's so expensive?" "I have one of those bags too. The price is just ordinary, it's not a luxury item." Hearing that, I secretly laughed. Without even thinking, I knew she was lying. This bag had been out of stock in the country for a long time. My dad had to use his connections to buy it, and the price wasn't something everyone could afford. Linda saying she had one too was ridiculous. I looked at her, smiling. "If you also have one, then bring it to our department gathering tomorrow so everyone can see it." Linda was stunned, not expecting me to say that. She awkwardly replied, "No, my bag isn't convenient to bring out." I added, "It's just a bag. Don't tell me you treasure it so much you don't dare bring it out to show everyone." I had blocked all of Linda's escape routes. She reluctantly agreed. At lunchtime, I went downstairs to eat. Coincidentally, I saw Luna Liang sitting in the lobby. She seemed to be waiting for someone. I walked over to greet her. "Director Liang, why haven't you gone to eat?" Luna smiled. "I'm waiting for someone, but it's probably taking too long. I won't wait anymore." I suggested. "In that case, let me take you to eat. I know a clay pot rice restaurant nearby that's very delicious." Luna happily agreed. We went to a nearby shopping center. Unexpectedly, as soon as we arrived, I caught Victor Wang and Linda Liu secretly meeting. No need to think. Linda was certainly asking Victor for money to buy a bag. Just then, Victor's wife appeared out of nowhere, lunging at them, punching and kicking both, forcing them to roll on the ground. I sat nearby, enjoying the show, laughing nonstop. Luna suddenly turned to ask me, "What's your relationship with the general director of your company?" I knew she was a partner, so I didn't hide it. "He's my brother." Luna was slightly surprised, then smiled. "I thought so. I also know your reputation. You wouldn't agree to work for just any company. I wondered how your general director managed to hire you. Turns out you're siblings." I excitedly said, "You also think my brother is strange, right? He's really like that scarily cold. And he's old now but has never been in love." Hearing me, Luna's face looked a little awkward, but then she chuckled and whispered, "If you say he's not in love, I don't believe it." I quickly raised my hand and swore, "It's true, I swear, we live in the same house. How could I not know?" Luna smiled and whispered, "Very good at keeping secrets." I didn't hear clearly and asked, What did you say? Luna just smiled and shook her head. At this moment, my phone rang. It was my mom saying that guests were coming over tonight and asking what gifts I thought she should prepare. I was curious. What kind of guests need gifts, Mom? My mom replied, your brother's girlfriend. I was stunned. Alex has a girlfriend, and he's bringing her home, my mom confirmed. That's right. At first, I thought he was joking, but he said it's true. Tina quickly helped me think of what gifts to prepare to welcome a girl to the house for the first time. How can we be thoughtful? I thought for a long time. Since I didn't know the girl's personality, I ended up listing all kinds of gifts: handbags, cosmetics, jewelry. I sent the list to my mom and reminded her to prepare everything to avoid losing face. My mom immediately followed suit. After work, I drove straight home to see what my brother's girlfriend looked like. Unexpectedly, as soon as I walked in, I saw my brother sitting on the sofa, and next to him was Luna Liang. I was stunned. Director Liang, you're Alex's girlfriend? Luna smiled. Tina, sorry I didn't tell you beforehand today. I quickly waved my hand. No problem, no problem. But in my heart, I was incredibly embarrassed. Just this morning, I was sitting there bad-mouthing my brother in front of Luna. Thinking back, I just wanted to disappear into the ground. Luna leaned close to me again and whispered, don't worry, I won't tell your brother. It was only then that I breathed a sigh of relief, but immediately after, I realized a problem. My brother hadn't told Luna about my existence. In my heart, I secretly sighed, am I that embarrassing in his eyes? During dinner, my mom brought out all the gifts. Just as I expected, Mom had prepared everything meticulously, buying everything on the list. My mom said, just pick what you like, don't be shy. Luna glanced at them and smiled. It's our first meeting. It's not good to accept such expensive gifts. I quickly interjected, sister-in-law, don't be shy. My parents are so happy you've come to our house, they don't know what to do with themselves. They're always worried about my brother, an old bachelor. And didn't you already accept my brother? So consider these gifts as a thank you from my parents. Hearing me, my brother raised his hand, intending to tap my head. This girl, does she know how to talk? If you don't know how, just eat more and learn. Luna quickly stopped him, smiling. Tina helped me today. Now we're on the same side. You can't bully Tina. I immediately hid behind Luna, making a face to tease my brother. He could only helplessly shake his head. That night after dinner, I went to my room and drew until midnight. Not feeling sleepy and a little hungry, I went out to find something to eat. Unexpectedly, I saw Luna Liang sitting alone on the balcony. I walked over curiously. Sister-in-law, why are you sitting here alone tonight? Luna was staying at my house, in the room right next to mine. She turned and smiled at me. I'm just recalling some old memories, Tina. You know, a few years ago, I was already with your brother, but I never had the courage to meet his family. Now I've finally done it. I realize things aren't as difficult as I thought. I walked over and stood beside her. Why didn't you dare to come? In my eyes, you're beautiful, successful, and elegant. You have no reason to be self-conscious. Luna sighed and told me about how she was bullied at school. I was incredibly surprised. I never imagined such an elegant woman like Luna had experienced such pitiful things. She patted my shoulder and said, I couldn't overcome those things until one time I confronted one of my bullies and strongly fought back. After that, I truly let go of the past. I was silent, thinking. Luna looked at me and gently said, Tina, your brother told me about your past. I think you also need to confront it once. Otherwise, you'll forever live in the shadow of the past. I looked at her, finally nodding. The next evening, our department held a party. After a round of dinner, everyone moved on to the karaoke room, but Linda Lee still hadn't appeared. By the time we were all settled in the karaoke room, Linda finally walked in, carrying her bag with a smug expression. Sorry, I had some business, so I'm late. As she spoke, she placed her bag on the table. A female colleague spoke up. Linda, is that the bag you said you bought? Linda nodded proudly, but immediately the entire room burst into laughter. Linda was flustered. Are you all crazy? What are you laughing at? I laughed so hard I doubled over. Another female colleague said, Tina told us that she was selling this bag on a second-hand marketplace last night. Turns out the buyer was you, and you lied saying you bought it before. That's so funny. Linda was stunned, looking at me with a guilty expression. No, this bag. I bought it at a store. It's not hers. I sat still, smiling at her. Really? My bag has my initials stitched inside. Is it my bag? Open it and check, you'll know. Linda instinctively clutched the bag strap, but another colleague quickly snatched it open. Indeed, inside were the initials TT, my name. Linda collapsed to the ground. The others looked at her with a mix of pity and contempt. It was then that Linda understood. She angrily screamed, "Tina Tran, you did this on purpose, didn't you? You deliberately played me." I calmly nodded. "That's right, Linda, have you forgotten? When we were abroad, I considered you a good friend, but what about you? You tricked me, saying the school was holding a pool party, gave me a swimsuit, then locked the dorm door, making me the laughingstock of the entire school. You also ganged up with others to isolate me, falsely accusing me of stealing. Weren't those things intentional?" Linda couldn't say anything. The colleagues whispered, "I can't believe Linda was a school bully. That's too much. How can someone like that still live so well now, hurting others and still living as if nothing happened?" Hearing those words, Linda, flustered, hugged her bag and ran out of the room. As I walked out of the restaurant, I saw Luna Liang waiting. "Done, aren't you? Resolving things yourself must feel more satisfying, right?" she said, draping a coat over my shoulders. I smiled. "Yes, it really does. Actually, I never forgot those things for the past year, but now it's different. I feel reborn." Luna looked at me and smiled. "That's more like it. To celebrate your rebirth, I'll take you to my secret base to play all night. How about that?" I asked curiously, "What's a secret base? Does Alex know?" Luna smiled mysteriously. "If it's called a secret base, how could Alex know?" Phi and Vu, thanks everyone for listening to the story. Don't forget to follow to listen to the latest stories.